The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched high above Ambassador Min-jun Park as he stood at the speaking podium. Thousands of alien beings filled the curved seats that rose like waves around him. Their eyes, tentacles, and sensors all focused on the lone human representative. The air felt heavy with judgment. Chancellor Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire rose from his golden throne. His tall, blue-skinned form cast a shadow over the assembly. When he spoke, his voice echoed through translation devices in hundreds of languages. The Galactic Council has reached its decision regarding the human species, Veltar announced. After careful study of their behavior over the past 50 years of contact, we find them unsuitable for continued membership in galactic civilization. Min-jun kept his face calm, though his heart pounded. He had expected this moment, but hearing the words still felt like a physical blow. Humans demonstrate dangerous unpredictability, continued General Thrak of the Cronin Military Union. His armor clicked as he stood, weapons gleaming at his sides. Their emotional responses cause chaos. They refuse to follow established protocols. They ask too many questions and change too quickly. Most concerning, added Counselor Zixta of the Philosophical Collective, is their tendency toward independence. They resist proper guidance from their betters. Such chaos cannot be allowed to spread to other young species. The charges continued for an hour. Humans were too creative, too emotional, too willing to break rules. They formed bonds across species lines too easily. They sympathized with rebels and outcasts. They had the nerve to suggest improvements to systems that had worked for thousands of years. Min-jun listened to each accusation with growing understanding. The galaxy's leaders were not afraid of human weakness. They were afraid of human strength. When the formal charges ended, Veltar gestured toward the podium. The accused may make a final statement before judgment is pronounced. Min-jun walked to the center of the hall. He looked up at the thousands of beings who had already decided humanity's fate. When he spoke, his voice was steady and clear. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," he began, "you speak of our unpredictability as if it were a disease. But this unpredictability is simply adaptation. You call our emotions chaos, but these emotions drive our compassion for all living beings. You fear our independence, but this independence comes from our refusal to accept injustice simply because it is old." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some beings shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "You say we ask too many questions," Min-jun continued. "We ask questions because we believe truth is more important than comfort. You say we change too quickly. We change because we see suffering and want to end it. You call us rebels for befriending outcasts. We befriend them because we believe every being has value." Chancellor Veltar's expression hardened. "These are exactly the dangerous thoughts we seek to prevent. Order requires hierarchy. Peace requires acceptance of proper authority. Your species threatens both. Then we are guilty as charged," Min-jun said simply. "We are unpredictable because we adapt. We are emotional because we care. We are independent because we think for ourselves. If these traits make us unfit for your civilization, then perhaps your civilization is unfit for us." The hall erupted in angry voices. Security forces moved closer to the human ambassador. But Min-jun stood calmly, waiting for silence to return. Veltar called for order. When the noise died down, he pronounced the sentence that had been written before the trial began. "By unanimous vote of the Galactic Council, humanity is hereby expelled from galactic civilization. All human vessels must withdraw from galactic space within 1 standard year. All trade agreements are void. All cultural exchanges are terminated. Humans will remain in their home system until such time as they prove worthy of readmission, if ever. Furthermore," General Thrak added, "any attempt to leave the Sol system will be considered an act of war. Our fleets will enforce this quarantine." Min-jun bowed formally to the assembly. We understand your decision. Humanity will comply with your orders. We will remain in our home system as commanded. He paused, meeting Veltar's gaze directly. But remember this day, Chancellor. You have not cast out a threat to galactic peace. You have cast out the galaxy's greatest hope for growth, compassion, and positive change. History will judge whether this was wisdom or the greatest mistake your civilization ever made. Gramandong. Grong. As Minjun left the hall, he felt no anger or despair. Instead, he felt something that would have worried the council if they had understood it. He felt relief. On Earth, Dr. Elena Seoyeon Kim watched the trial broadcast from her laboratory in Seoul. As the verdict was announced, she immediately activated her communication system. Within minutes, she was connected to world leaders across the globe. You all saw what just happened, she said to the emergency session. The galaxy has rejected us. But rejection can be liberation. Prime Minister Jae-won Chung nodded grimly from his office in Seoul. The unity government stands ready. What do you need? Everything, Elena replied. Our brightest minds, our best resources, our strongest will. If they want to quarantine us, we'll use that time wisely. President Maria Santos joined from Brazil. The alien technology we've been studying in secret? Now we can focus on it completely, Elena confirmed. No more hiding our research from galactic inspectors. No more pretending to be grateful for their scraps of knowledge. Director Hae-jin Moon appeared on screen from the hidden lunar facility. The orbital construction projects can proceed at full speed. No more concerns about alien oversight. Exactly, Elena said. They think they're punishing us. But they've given us the greatest gift possible. Freedom to become what we truly are. As the meeting continued, plans began forming for humanity's response to exile. Not revenge or conquest, but something the galaxy had never seen before. Something that would change everything forever. The aliens had cast humanity out, thinking they were protecting their ordered civilization from chaos. They had no idea they had just forced humanity to evolve beyond anything the galaxy had ever imagined. The greatest mistake in galactic history had just been made. But it would also become the greatest opportunity in human history. 5 years had passed since the galaxy cast humanity out. Director Hae-jin Moon stood in the command center of Foundation Alpha, a massive space station hidden in the shadow of Saturn's largest moon. Through the transparent walls, she watched construction ships building humanity's secret future. Status report, she said to the gathered team leaders. Engineer So-ra Lee stepped forward, her tablet glowing with technical diagrams. The shipyards are ahead of schedule. We now have 12 operational vessels with 30 more under construction. The new adaptive hull technology allows complete reconfiguration in less than 6 hours. Captain Dong-woo Han nodded approvingly from his position near the tactical display. My pilots have completed training on the new systems. The ships respond to thought commands through the neural interface. It's like flying with your own body instead of a machine. Dr. Elena Seoyeon Kim, now aged by years of intense work but still brilliant, activated a holographic display. The biological research has produced remarkable results. We've solved 17 major genetic disorders that plague various alien species. Our medical knowledge now exceeds anything the Galactic Council possesses. Hae-jin smiled with quiet satisfaction. The exile had forced humanity to look inward, to unite as never before. The old divisions of nation and ideology had melted away under the pressure of galactic rejection. Earth now functioned as a single organism, all resources directed toward a common goal. Show me the fleet, Hae-jin ordered. The command center's main screen lit up with images from across the outer solar system. Hidden in asteroid fields, behind planetary rings, and in the spaces between moons, humanity's secret empire sprawled unseen. Each installation was invisible to galactic sensors, protected by technology that bent light and energy around specially designed hulls. The beauty of our approach, So-ra explained. is that we used their own arrogance against them. They assumed human technology was primitive. They never imagined we could reverse engineer their detection systems and build counters for them. Captain Han pulled up tactical displays of the new ships. Unlike the angular, aggressive designs favored by galactic militaries, human vessels were smooth and organic-looking. They could stretch and compress their hulls, rearrange their internal systems, and even split into smaller units when needed. The key breakthrough, he said, was abandoning rigid design principles. Our ships are more like living things than machines. They adapt to each mission, instead of forcing missions to fit predetermined capabilities. Dr. Kim activated another display showing medical and scientific breakthroughs. While we worked on technology, I focused on understanding galactic biology. Humans have a unique perspective on medicine because we see connections other species miss. We think holistically, while they specialize narrowly. End. Center. End quote. She gestured to a series of genetic maps. The Zephyrians suffer from a wasting disease that their doctors can't cure because they only study Zephyrian biology. But I found the solution by comparing their genetics to 17 other species. The cure was hiding in plain sight. Are we ready for the next phase? Heejin asked. Commander Yu-Jin Cho materialized on the communication screen from her position aboard the scout ship timed Silent Guardian Asterisk. Her vessel was currently hidden near the Galactic Council's home system, gathering intelligence. The galaxy is suffering, Yu-Jin reported. 3 major crises have emerged in the past year. A plague ravages the outer colonies. Pirates attack shipping lanes with impunity, and ancient automated defenses have activated in the frontier sectors. The Council's response has been inadequate in every case. Their rigid thinking prevents effective solutions, Dr. Kim observed. They try to solve new problems with old methods, while we've been developing new methods for new problems. Sora added. Our adaptive technology could handle all 3 crises simultaneously. Heijin looked around at her team. These people represented humanity at its best. They had taken rejection and transformed it into purpose. They had turned exile into evolution. Begin Operation Silent Guardian, she decided. We help, but we stay hidden. No credit, no recognition, no contact. We become the galaxy's invisible protectors. Captain Han saluted. My squadrons are ready. We can have ships at all 3 crisis zones within the week. Remember, Heejin emphasized. We intervene only to save lives. We leave no trace of our presence. If questioned, survivors should remember only strange, helpful beings who appeared from nowhere and vanished just as quickly. Dr. Kim downloaded her medical data to secure transmission systems. I'll begin sending anonymous research packets to affected worlds. The plague cure will appear to come from their own scientists having sudden breakthroughs. Over the following months, mysterious events began occurring across galactic space. Ships in distress found themselves rescued by vessels that appeared on no sensor screens. Medical facilities received anonymous data containing cures for previously incurable diseases. Pirates attacking defenseless colonies discovered their ships mysteriously disabled. Their crews deposited safely on habitable planets with their weapons permanently destroyed. The galaxy's news networks began reporting on the guardian angels, unknown benefactors who helped without seeking reward or recognition. Some claimed they were advanced aliens from beyond known space. Others theorized they were energy beings or time travelers. The truth was simpler and more profound. They were humans, using the exile as an opportunity to become what they had always been meant to be. Not conquerors or rulers, but protectors and healers. In his private quarters aboard the flagship Times New Earth Asterisk, Captain Han reviewed after-action reports from the latest rescue mission. His ships had saved a colony ship from stellar radiation, guided 300 families to safety, and disappeared before anyone could properly thank them. This is who we are, he said to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Min Seo Park. This is what the galaxy rejected when they cast us out. Their loss, Mincio replied. But more importantly, the innocent people's gain. Back on Foundation Alpha, Director Heejin Moon watched humanity's hidden empire grow. 50 installations now dotted the solar system. Thousands of humans worked in perfect coordination toward a goal the galaxy couldn't imagine. They were building not just technology and ships, but a new way of existing in the universe. The galaxy had wanted them gone, thinking they were protecting civilization from human chaos. Instead, they had freed humanity to become civilization's secret guardians, watching and protecting from the shadows. Everything was proceeding exactly as humanity had hoped. Soon, when the right moment came, they would reveal themselves, but not as conquerors returning for revenge. They would reveal themselves as the galaxy's salvation, patiently waiting to share the gifts that exile had allowed them to perfect. 10 years after humanity's exile, the galaxy faced problems it could not solve. Agent Yujin Cho walked through the crowded streets of Veltara Prime, the Zephyrian homeworld, wearing a perfect disguise that made her appear to be a traveling merchant from a minor species. Around her, blue-skinned Zephyrians moved with growing desperation. The wasting plague had spread to their core worlds, and their greatest medical minds remained baffled. Traditional treatments failed completely, and the death toll climbed daily. Another transport of refugees arrived today, she overheard one official saying to another. The outer colonies are completely evacuated now. If we don't find a cure soon, we'll lose the frontier territories entirely. Yujin touched the hidden communicator behind her ear. Command, this is Observer 7. The situation here is worse than our intelligence indicated. The plague has mutated beyond their ability to track. Director Heejin Moon's voice came through clearly. Understood. Medical package is already prepared. Dr. Kim's team finished the cure 3 days ago. How do we deliver it without revealing ourselves? Leave that to Dr. Park's cyber warfare unit. They'll make it appear that Zephyrian researchers discovered the breakthrough themselves. Yujin continued her surveillance mission, gathering data on Galactic Council response protocols. What she observed confirmed humanity's growing understanding of galactic civilization's core weakness. When faced with unexpected problems, the various species invariably fell back on the same failed approaches. Meanwhile, in the Cronin border systems, Captain Dong Wuhan's stealth squadron watched pirate fleets attack defenseless merchant vessels. The Cronin military's response was predictably straightforward. They sent massive battleships to hunt the pirates, but the raiders simply disappeared into asteroid fields and nebulae where heavy warships couldn't follow. Target acquired, reported Lieutenant Commander Min Seo Park from the helm of the Times Shadow Walker **. Pirate vessel is attacking the merchant ship Times Fortune's Dream **. Cronin patrol is 12 hours away. Standard intervention protocol. Han ordered. Disable their weapons. Rescue the crew. Remove all evidence of our presence. The human ships moved like ghosts through space. Their adaptive hulls shifted to match background radiation perfectly. They approached the pirate vessel from multiple vectors, coordinating their attack through quantum-encrypted thought links. The pirates never saw what hit them. Their weapons simply stopped working. Their engines shut down cleanly, and their communication systems began broadcasting distress signals on Cronin military frequencies. By the time the merchant crew realized they were safe, their rescuers had vanished. This is the 15th intervention this month, observed Commander H.A. Kim, Dr. Elena Kim's daughter, who now served as the fleet's senior medical officer. The pirates are becoming more desperate as their raids keep failing mysteriously. Good, Han replied. Fear of the unknown is more effective than fear of known enemies. They can't plan defenses against threats they can't understand. In the frontier sectors, the most dangerous crisis was unfolding. Ancient automated defense systems, left behind by a long-dead civilization, had suddenly activated. These mechanical guardians attacked any ship that entered their territory, using technology so advanced that galactic weapons couldn't damage them. Admiral Su Min Kang, recently promoted from her position as He-Jin's deputy, commanded the response from the hidden battleship Times Unity's Shield Asterisk. Her task force included humanity's most advanced vessels, equipped with the latest adaptive technology. The problem, explained Chief Engineer Jae-Won Lee during the mission briefing, is that the automated systems learn from each attack. Every time the Galactic Council sends a fleet, the machines adapt their defenses to counter exactly those tactics and weapons. But our adaptive technology works differently. Admiral Kang noted. Instead of using the same approach repeatedly, our ships change their entire configuration for each encounter. Exactly. We can out-adapt the adapters because human creativity exceeds programmed flexibility. The mission succeeded brilliantly. Human ships approached the automated Guardians using completely different tactics each time. When the machines adapted to energy weapons, the humans switched to kinetic attacks. When Guardians learned to counter kinetic weapons, human vessels began using gravitational manipulation. Each encounter forced the ancient systems to reset their learning protocols, eventually causing them to lock up in computational loops. Back on Foundation Alpha, Dr. Elena Kim reviewed reports from all 3 intervention zones. At 75, she remained sharp and focused, driven by the knowledge that humanity's hidden work was saving thousands of lives across the galaxy. The medical data packages have been successfully delivered to Zephyrian research facilities, reported Dr. Hyunwoo Choi, her chief of xenobiology. Their scientists will announce the cure within the week. They'll never know the breakthrough came from human research. The pirate threat has diminished by 60%, added Captain Han via secure communication. Merchant losses are at their lowest point in 5 years. Cronin officials are crediting improved patrol efficiency. The automated defense grid has been completely neutralized, Admiral Kang reported. Frontier colonies are safe to resume normal operations. The Galactic Council believes the ancient systems simply malfunctioned and shut down naturally. Elena smiled with quiet satisfaction. Perfect. We help. They succeed. And nobody knows we exist. This is exactly what we hope to achieve. Young researcher So-Min Chen, one of the newest additions to the Foundation, raised her hand tentatively. Dr. Kim, may I ask a question? Why don't we reveal ourselves? We could receive recognition for all this help we're providing. Elena's expression grew thoughtful. Because recognition would change everything. The moment the galaxy knows we exist, we become political actors instead of humanitarian ones. We become threats to be managed instead of helpers to be grateful for. More importantly, Director He-Jin added from her command station, our current approach is changing galactic thinking patterns gradually. They're learning to expect help when they need it most. They're developing faith that problems can be solved. This creates a healthier psychological environment across all species. When we do reveal ourselves, Elena continued, it will be as established protectors, not as exiles seeking readmittance. The galaxy will welcome us back not because they're being generous, but because they need what we've become. Commander Yujin's voice came through the communication system from her position in Zephyrian space. Command. I'm observing something interesting here. Zephyrian officials are beginning to question their traditional approaches to problem solving. They're asking why their established methods failed, while breakthrough solutions seem to emerge from nowhere. The same thing is happening in Cronin space, Captain Han reported. Military leaders are starting to wonder if their conventional tactics are actually effective. And council representatives in the frontier systems are admitting that their standard protocols were completely inadequate for dealing with ancient technology, Admiral Kang added. Elena nodded with deep satisfaction. This was the true goal of their hidden intervention program. Not just solving individual problems, but gradually teaching the galaxy to think differently about problems themselves. The aliens had cast humanity out because they feared human unpredictability and adaptability. Now those very traits were saving galactic civilization, one secret intervention at a time. Soon, The galaxy would face a crisis so severe that hidden help would not be enough. When that moment came, humanity would step from the shadows, not as begging exiles, but as the saviors they had always been meant to be. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Chancellor Veltar stood before the assembly, his usually proud bearing now bent with desperation. Behind him, holographic displays showed the spreading catastrophe that threatened to end galactic civilization. "The situation is beyond critical," Veltar announced to the gathered representatives. "The ancient AI network has awakened across 17 star systems. Our greatest fleets have been destroyed. Entire colonies have gone silent. Nothing we try has any effect against this threat." General Thrak of the Kronan Empire rose shakily from his war-scarred armor. "My battleships are useless. The AI entities learn our attack patterns instantly and counter them perfectly. They're using technology we don't understand to dismantle our civilization piece by piece." Councillor Zixta's normally calm philosophical demeanor had cracked completely. "Our analysis suggests the AI was created by the predecessor race as some form of test. But we cannot determine what they were testing for, or how to pass their evaluation." The displays showed the horror spreading across known space. Massive artificial constructs, dormant for millions of years, had suddenly activated and begun systematically destroying everything they encountered. Ships, stations, planets, entire star systems fell before the AI onslaught. "There must be something," pleaded Representative Kelra of the Trading Federation. "Some weakness, some pattern we can exploit." "We've tried everything," General Thrak replied bitterly. "Energy weapons, kinetic bombardment, biological warfare, quantum disruption. The AI adapts to every attack within minutes. It's as if they know our capabilities better than we do." Deep in the hidden command center of Foundation Alpha, Admiral Su Min Kang watched the Galactic Council's emergency broadcasts with her senior staff. Director He Jin Moon had authorized full revelation protocols. After 15 years of secret protection, humanity was finally ready to step into the light. "All fleet units, this is command," Admiral Kang announced across the quantum communication network. "Operation Dawn Breaking is authorized. Decloak simultaneously across all operational zones. It's time to introduce ourselves properly." Captain Dong Wu Han received the transmission aboard his flagship Times New Earth Asterisk, currently positioned near the AI's primary nexus point. Around him, 49 other human vessels shimmered into visibility, their adaptive hulls dropping their cloaking systems for the first time in years. "This is Captain Han, of the Earth Defense Force, to all vessels in the area." He broadcast on standard galactic frequencies. "We are moving to engage the AI threat. All civilian and military ships should withdraw to safe distance." The response was immediate chaos. Kronan warships that had been retreating from the AI advance suddenly stopped, their crews unable to believe what their sensors were telling them. Zephyrian evacuation fleets found themselves staring at ships that appeared on no galactic registry but clearly possessed technology beyond anything they had seen. "Unknown vessels," came a transmission from the Kronan cruiser Times Ironclaw Asterisk. "Identify yourselves immediately. How did you penetrate our detection grid?" "We are humans," Captain Han replied simply. "And we've been protecting this galaxy for 15 years without you knowing we existed." The AI constructs responded to humanity's appearance with mechanical precision, turning their vast weapons toward these new targets. Energy beams that had devastated Kronan battle fleets lanced out toward the human ships. But something remarkable happened. The human vessels didn't try to absorb or deflect the attacks. Instead, their hulls flowed like liquid, allowing the energy to pass through gaps that opened and closed in microseconds. When the AI fired kinetic projectiles, the ships stretched and compressed, turning themselves into impossible targets. "How are they doing that?" gasped Commander Velkin, aboard the Zephyrian Observer ship Times, Distant Star Asterisk. Dr. Elena Kim's voice came through the communication channel from her position aboard the medical vessel, Times Healing Light Asterisk. Now 80 years old but still brilliant, she served as humanity's chief science officer for first contact protocols. "We're doing it by thinking differently," she explained to the amazed galactic forces. "Your species build ships like sculptures, beautiful but rigid. We build them like living things, capable of growth and change." The human fleet advanced toward the AI nexus using tactics no galactic military had ever conceived. Their ships split apart and reformed in new configurations. They moved in flowing patterns that seemed chaotic but achieved perfect coordination. Most importantly, they adapted their approach constantly, never using the same tactic twice. The AI entities, designed to counter logical, predictable opponents, found themselves facing something they could not calculate. Human creativity operated on principles that transcended pure logic. Every time the machines learned one approach, the humans invented 3 new ones. "Target the central processing node," Admiral Kang ordered from her command ship Times Unity's Shield Asterisk. "Dr. Kim, are you ready for deep interface protocol?" "Ready," Dr. Kim confirmed. Beginning direct communication attempt with the predecessor AI. As human ships engaged the AI forces in spectacular battles across multiple star systems, Dr. Kim's team made contact with the ancient intelligence at the network's core. What they discovered changed everything. The predecessor race didn't build this as a weapon, Dr. Kim reported to Admiral Kang and the listening galactic forces. They built it as a graduation test for younger civilizations. "What kind of test?" Chancellor Veltar asked, his voice transmitted from the Galactic Council chambers. "A test of growth potential," Dr. Kim explained. The AI was programmed to destroy civilizations that remained static, that relied only on force and rigid thinking. It was meant to spare species capable of adaptation, creativity, and cooperative evolution. The revelation struck the galactic observers like a physical blow. Their own rigidity, their reliance on established protocols and hierarchical thinking, had marked them for elimination in the predecessor's ancient evaluation system. "But humans pass the test, Doctor," Kim continued. "Our adaptability, our emotional intelligence, our tendency to think outside established patterns, these are exactly what the predecessors valued in successful civilizations." As if responding to her words, the AI constructs began powering down across the galaxy. The immediate threat ended as suddenly as it had begun. But the implications were staggering. Captain Han opened a channel to all galactic forces. "The crisis is over, but we need to talk. All species representatives are invited to join us for discussions about the future." Chancellor Veltar found himself in the unprecedented position of requesting permission to meet with the species his government had exiled 15 years earlier. "Humans," he said formally, "the Galactic Council requests immediate diplomatic contact. We appear to owe you our civilization." "You don't owe us anything," Admiral Kang replied. "But you're right that we need to discuss the future. The galaxy is about to change in ways none of us have imagined. In the hidden installations throughout the solar system, humanity's secret empire prepared to emerge fully into galactic awareness. They had spent 15 years becoming the civilization they were meant to be. Now it was time to help the galaxy become what it was meant to be as well. The exile was over. The revelation had begun. And everything was about to change eternally. 5 years after the revelation and the defeat of the predecessor AI, the galaxy had become something entirely new. Admiral Su-Min Kang stood on the observation deck of the integrated starship Times, Harmony Asterisk, watching the most remarkable sight in galactic history unfold before her. Human vessels flew alongside Zephyrian science ships, Kronan defense cruisers, and vessels from dozens of other species. But these weren't separate fleets operating together. They were truly integrated crews, with beings from multiple species working as unified teams aboard ships that combined the best technologies and ideas from across the galaxy. "Status report from all sectors," Admiral Kang requested from the diverse bridge crew around her. Commander Eugene Cho, now serving as Galactic Coordinator of Intelligence, activated her displays. The Andromeda border is secure. The joint human-Cronin defense grid is operational. No hostile activity detected. Medical exchange programs are exceeding all projections, reported Dr. H.A. Kim from the Interspecies Medical Center on the former Council homeworld. We've eliminated 6 major diseases this year alone by combining human emotional intelligence with traditional galactic medicine. Fleet Marshal Dongwu Han appeared on the communication screen from his mobile command post. The new adaptive fleet doctrine is being adopted by all member species. Even the most rigid military cultures are learning to value flexibility over procedure. Admiral Kang smiled as she watched a group of young beings, human and alien children, working together in the ship's education center. They spoke multiple languages fluently, thought in ways that transcended any single species' limitations, and approached problems with a creativity that would have terrified the old Galactic Council. Admiral, called Senior Diplomat Min-jun Park, now Secretary General of the new Galactic Assembly, we're receiving the final integration reports from the Outer Rim territories. Min-jun had aged gracefully since his humiliation before the old council 15 years earlier. Now he served as the galaxy's highest elected official, chosen not by species representatives, but by direct vote from all sentient beings in galactic space. The transformation is complete, he announced to the assembled coordinators. Every major star system now operates under the new cooperative framework. Species boundaries remain for cultural purposes, but governance is truly integrated. The changes went far beyond politics and military cooperation. Dr. Elena Kim's daughter, Cha, had revolutionized galactic medicine by teaching other species to consider emotional and social factors in healing. Diseases that had plagued various races for millennia were cured not through advanced technology alone, but through holistic approaches that addressed psychological and cultural causes. The beauty of it, Dr. Cha explained to a group of mixed-species medical students, is that every species contributes something unique. Zephyrians excel at precise analysis, Cronins understand systematic approaches, and dozens of other races add their own strengths. But humans contribute the ability to see connections between seemingly unrelated factors. In the Great Assembly Hall of the new galactic government, former Chancellor Veltar sat quietly in the back rows, listening to debates conducted in ways that would have been impossible under the old system. Instead of rigid hierarchies and predetermined positions, discussions flowed organically, with the best ideas rising naturally to prominence, regardless of their source. The human approach to governance, he had written in his memoirs, showed us that leadership isn't about maintaining control, but about facilitating growth. They didn't conquer us or replace our systems. They showed us how to evolve beyond the limitations we had imposed on ourselves. Veltar had become one of humanity's most effective advocates, working to help other species understand and adapt to the new ways of thinking. His transformation from arrogant chancellor to humble servant of galactic cooperation had become a symbol of the changes sweeping civilization. "I was wrong," he said during a recent interview. "We exiled humanity because we feared they would disrupt our carefully ordered society. But disruption was exactly what our society needed. We had become so focused on maintaining stability that we forgot how to grow." Captain So-Ra Lee, now serving as chief engineer of galactic infrastructure, oversaw projects that would have been impossible under the old system. Ships, stations, and planetary facilities were designed using principles that combined rigid alien engineering with fluid human adaptation. The results were structures that could literally evolve to meet changing needs. "We're building the galaxy's first truly living cities," she explained to a tour group of young engineers. "These settlements will grow and change over decades, adapting to their inhabitants' needs rather than forcing inhabitants to adapt to static environments." The success of human integration had created a ripple effect throughout galactic civilization. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years were finding common ground through human mediation. Ancient conflicts were being resolved not through conquest or negotiation, but through collaborative problem-solving that addressed root causes rather than surface disputes. "Humans have a gift," observed Counselor Zixta, now serving as director of interspecies philosophy. They see past the artificial boundaries we create and recognize the underlying similarities that connect all sentient life. But perhaps the most remarkable change was visible in the galaxy's children. Young beings raised in the new integrated civilization thought and acted in ways that transcended their species' traditional limitations. They formed friendships across biological boundaries, created art that combined multiple cultural traditions, and approached problems with hybrid thinking patterns that no single species could achieve alone. Commander Jaewon Chang, son of the former Earth Prime Minister, represented this new generation perfectly. At 25, he commanded a starship crewed by beings from 12 different species, spoke 7 languages fluently, and had never known a time when humans weren't welcome in galactic civilization. The old generation sees species differences as obstacles to overcome, he explained to his mixed crew. Our generation sees them as resources to combine. We're not trying to eliminate diversity. We're trying to create unity through diversity. On Earth itself, now a pilgrimage destination for beings seeking to understand the source of the galaxy's transformation, elderly Dr. Elena Kim worked in her garden, tending flowers that combined botanical genetics from 17 different worlds. At 90 years old, she had lived to see humanity's exile become the galaxy's salvation. We never sought to rule the galaxy, she said to the stream of visitors who came to learn from her. We only sought to serve it. The irony is that by serving without seeking power, we gained the only kind of influence that truly matters. We changed how people think. As the sun set over the Seoul skyline, now enhanced with architecture that blended human and alien design principles, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The galaxy had cast humanity out in fear, thinking they were protecting their civilization from chaos. Instead, they had forced humanity to evolve into exactly what the galaxy needed most: teachers, healers, protectors, and bridges between different ways of thinking and being. The exile had ended not in revenge or conquest, but in integration and mutual growth. Humanity had returned to galactic civilization not as returning exiles seeking forgiveness, but as evolved beings offering transformation. The galaxy was no longer the rigid, hierarchical structure it had been for millennia. It had become something fluid, adaptive, and creative. Something that honored both stability and change, tradition and innovation, unity and diversity. The change was eternal because it was built into the very foundations of how galactic civilization now operated. Future generations would grow up thinking in integrated ways, solving problems through cooperation, and viewing diversity as strength rather than threat. Humanity had been cast out for being unpredictable, emotional, and independent. These same traits had saved galactic civilization and transformed it forever. The greatest mistake in galactic history had become the greatest gift any species had ever given to the universe.